The Reformation or the Reformation period runs from 15 to 1600 AD. Here we will see how certain things get reformed as this particular time period of history unfolds. And so education also is different. Educational goals here were to cultivate a commitment to a particular religious denomination and general literacy. So we now see from the Renaissance period where we lost religion, religion coming back. And that is why it's a reformation or reformation time, but it is limited to a particular denomination, which means a particular group. At that time, of course, we are still talking of Europe, and so we are talking of Christianity, and so there was the Roman Catholics, and then there were the Protestants, and the Protestants were under different denominations. So what denomination did you follow? And that religious denomination's teaching were important to be transmitted together with general literacy. They were not interested in science or math or art or anything. General literacy, which really means the focus was still on the classics, the classic literature and poetry. Students were boys and girls, 7 to 12 years in vernacular schools, young men of upper class in humanist schools. So what we see now, for the first time, young girls going to vernacular schools with boys. They were allowed, 7 to 12-year-old girls were allowed to get to school and receive an education. However, 7 to 12 would really be elementary or primary grades. Men of the upper class could then continue from the vernacular schools and receive a humanist education in humanist schools. There, girls were still not permitted secondary or education beyond the elementary. But it's a step in the right direction for the female population. Instructional methods was memorizing. Drill is repetition and practice. Do it again and again and again. That's drill. Keep repeating it. Indoctrination. This comes from religious beliefs. You had to be indoctrinated. The religious beliefs had to be engraved in your minds according to the particular denomination you belonged to. Catechetical instruction in vernacular schools, translation and analysis of classical literature in humanist schools. So you see, the better education is being reserved for the boys who go to humanist schools. There, they can translate and analyze texts. In the vernacular schools, that was not allowed. Curriculum was reading, writing, arithmetic, catechism, religious concepts and rituals, Latin and Greek theology. So we begin again to see from the Renaissance breakdown of religious thought that in the Reformation period it comes back. You can see in the curriculum there's a heavy emphasis on religious concepts, religious education and teachings, plus the classics and some other reading and writing kinds of tasks that were introduced. Agents were vernacular elementary school for general public. Everybody, girls, boys, everybody, general public went to the vernacular schools, and classical schools for the upper class, boys only. So again, two-track system still there. If you were an upper class, you were at an advantage. And we see that throughout, from pre-literate societies all the way up to now. We see that if you were an upper class male, you were at an advantage. Influence on education was commitment to universal education to provide literacy for everyone. That didn't matter what class you belonged to, didn't matter what level of society you belonged to, universal education was seen as being important. Origins of school systems, dual track school system based on socioeconomic class and career goals. If you only wanted to be part of society, you went to a different track if you wanted to be, and were already in the upper society, you received a different type of education fit for that particular group of society. Not a good thing, but it was there.